Today is Tuesday, it's the 14th of September. We're here at the Civic Center. We're at the maintenance for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam, call the roll, please.
Mayor Patsy,
Here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Call,
Here.
Mr. Key.
Here. Thank you. Before we begin, for those of you in attendance and those who see this, I want to welcome Doug Baber, our incoming city administrator. Yesterday was his first day. Today is his first meeting. Mario is leaving us tomorrow. We want to thank everyone for, if you have a chance, to introduce yourself to Doug and let him get to know you. Glad to have you with us. Okay. First on the agenda is a series of meetings that are under the consent. If there are no corrections or additions, the chair will entertain a motion to approve by consent.
Make a motion to approve by consent the agendas.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? All right, let the record reflect that the consent agenda passes 5-0. Moving to our regular agenda items. The first is Ordinance 767, which is the second reading.
That's late. Oh, I don't know.
No,
Okay.
this is not a public hearing.
Okay.
Excuse me. This ordinance deals with the outside service for water, sewer, and sanitation. It's has been discussed. So we are the sole source for providing that service. Is there any questions or comments? If not, we'll have a motion to read the title only.
Make a motion to read by title ordinance, title only, ordinance 767.
Have a motion second. Any opposition to reading? Ms. Cameron, please read.
Ordinance 767, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 52.30 of the City Code regarding connections with a water sewer system outside the city, providing that only the City Council may approve an application for service outside the city, providing for severability, codification, and providing an effective date.
Did we mix up the discussions on the ordinances? This first ordinance was about applications for service outside the city. The discussion we just had was about, I think, the city providing exclusive solid waste service.
It's a different one.
7, I'm sorry, Nick, say that again.
Solid waste was a different one than this one, so I don't know if the numbers are correct or not.
The agenda has 767 first, which is applications for water and sewer outside the city. And then second, it has ordinance 768, which is city acting as
You're exactly right. I used the explanation of 768 for 767.
which is fine. We just need to clarify.
Just need to clarify. Thank you for correcting. So we know what 767 is. Still the second reading. Is there any questions or comments about that? Just for clarification, I guess I should say that this ordinance deals where the city council is the only authorizing party for outside service.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance 767.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Pollak,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, number 2 is ordinance 768, which is what I've already, do they know we're meeting then?
We should just better remind them, sir.
Thank you.
They do know, but they also.
Okay, I understand, but maybe they're busy. 768 is what I just described, of where that we don't offer service outside, the sole pickup for water, sewer, and sanitation. Or for sanitation and garbage and debris services.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to read by title only? This is also the second reading.
Make a motion to read ordinance 768 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any opposition? Please read.
Ordinance 768, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 51.01 of the City Code regarding sanitation service, confirming that the city shall be the only provider of regularly scheduled garbage pickup and other sanitation and debris services that the city provides, providing for severability, codification, and providing an effective date.
Okay. A motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 768.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Pollak,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key.
Yes.
Moving to resolution number 3, resolution 2141, which is a $6,000 expenditure for dredge hose. Is there any, is the resolution in itself self-explanatory? Okay, and we need it. Any questions or comments about it?
Only question I got now, is this going from the dredge to the land or the land on over?
Yeah, it's bridge to the land. It's
Okay.
just for, after a while, the
Yeah.
hoses start getting in bad shape, holes and stuff. It's just to replace some of the existing hoses that we have.
And allows us to get out a little bit further?
Yeah, we get a little further out also.
Good. Good.
Okay. Is there a motion to read?
Make a motion to read resolution 21-41.
Second.
Please read.
Resolution 21-41, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a new 200-foot dredge hose for city canal for a cost of approximately $6,000.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve resolution 21-41.
Have a motion second. Please call the roll.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Number 4, resolution 2142. I'm not sure who this is or what this is as far as, I know what it is, but
Bobby, would you like me to start this and then turn it over to you?
Please.
The last meeting, we had another detailed discussion about obstructions of the right of way. Mr. Pollak was working on the motion, and we had a discussion about whether to use an ordinance or just a motion or a resolution. And so between the last meeting and this meeting, after that got tabled by Mr. Pollak, we worked together on this resolution. I think that the goal of this is that if it passes, it would then soon after lead to working on an ordinance to do something similar, so we'd have a more permanent, effective way of accomplishing this. But in general, this resolution says what Bobby was suggesting last meeting, which is that the obstructions that are already in the right of way, posts, fences, landscape, whatever's there, can remain there until such time that the right of way is needed for construction, for utilities, public works, At that point, they'd be removed at no cost to the city. And this resolution has a blank for the date. I would assume we just insert today's date unless there's a discussion that leads to a different date. That being the date that the grandfathering basically begins. So that's what this is. I do want to kind of provide a clarification, though. I drafted this resolution, but I'm not recommending approval on this. I really was just assisting Bobby to get this pulled together in a way that would be clear and legal and work effectively. You certainly should still give some strong consideration to what exactly is in the right of way. I mean, you have some items that are small and don't pose much risk, but others that are right off the asphalt, fairly large and potentially risky. So by adopting this resolution, you're waiving your ability to later on have those items removed until such time that you actually need to do construction. And you may find at some point that some of those constructions are causing more trouble than you expect. But this resolution would basically set up a grandfathering of the currently in place constructions.
Okay. As Nick said, I made a motion last meeting, and I want to make sure it's done right to implement this resolution. Right around this city, there's almost every street, if not every street, there's stuff in the right of way. Whatever reason it's there, you know, you go in there now. There's some stuff's been there for over 20 years. And so a point of what do? Do you pick and choose, or you go ahead and say, okay, what we got now is good, no more. And again, anytime we have to do work, I would feel like if it's in the way, it's got to be taken up, done away with. But I can't see telling this person here, well, you're okay, and this one, you're not okay. And when over the years that they've done it, or they have been told it was okay, reasons, there's 100 different reasons. You can go with any different reason you want it, and they're there. So I felt like this resolution will take care of what we got going on now and pick it up from now. And in the resolution, it shows that they have to show proof of when it was done or whatever from now on. So that's my thoughts on it. After everybody gets through what they want to say, I'd like to make a motion.
What about, so everybody's got one in now is going to be grandfathered, as you say. So no one's allowed to do this other than those? Is that what?
It would carry the ordinance back. The ordinance has been in effect, but it has not been enforced.
So
we've had people, and with good reasons, I feel like, that don't want people parking on their grass. Agreed, it's not their grass. But they made this, or trees, or plants, they made this city prettier by putting it there. If people just went up to their easement line, our city would not look as good as it does now. It just, and I cannot see telling this person they have to take this down that they have for 20-some years, and tell this person that they can leave it.
you don't think you're going to get into issues with somebody that's had it in for 20 years and somebody that's had it in for 2 months or a month?
Have you read ordinance?
No, I haven't read it.
I know resolution, not ordinance, resolution.
Well, to me, it just seems like you kind of opening the door for anybody to do it from now on.
Read the resolution.
It's drafted so that it's only the obstructions that already exist on, again, probably we'll insert today's date. And then for someone to later on say that they had their items installed early enough, they'll have to document to the city, unless it's just an obvious one that the city already knows about.
And so, how are we gonna determine that? That somebody's gonna have to ride around and make note of it? How's that work?
Well, very well, you got notes on about all you got now. If you go in there, you go to your resolution, you go to where it shows proof or whatever. That's good,
Be it resolved?
Okay, number 5. When it's unclear whether the obstruction was installed prior to that date, the burden shall be on the property owner to provide document, photographs, and evidence that obstruction was in place and prior to that date.
It's a slippery slope for me. That's all.
Well, to me, this is about as close to being able to settle this as what we need to do. That's what I'm looking at. I'm thinking the citizens have already done it. That, again, and I don't want to use the word allowed, that it's been done over the years. We have people that, especially on the beach side, on the people parking on what they have put out, paid a lot of good money for. And I can understand it. I don't want somebody coming, I don't have any structures in my yard, but I don't want somebody to come and park on my grass. I pay good money to get down there, and I pay good money to water it every time. Just, I don't want to do it. I don't blame them. And most of them, in most cases, is help the city as far as looks. You ride around and you see some beautiful setups now, compared to if they just went to where the easement was and left the rest of it, it wouldn't look that good. It wouldn't. So. And there's a lot of people that do it for protection of their driveways.
Well, some of those roads are protected well enough that the garbage truck has to back in and back out.
Well,
I'm just saying, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, here's what I'm going back 2 months ago, or last two meetings ago, when it was brought up. And I don't think I would have had any issues if we were talking about a sandwich board private property keep out sign that was leaning against a slanted 2x4 over an opening to someone's house. Or if we were talking about an azalea bush or a palm tree that's been planted there for 10, 12, 15 years. Or 2 4x4 posts and a rope across somebody's driveway. For me, I don't believe the discussion would have ever been at this table. What has happened, in my opinion, is that property owners have been allowed to block whatever their street frontage is. They don't block, they block it off. They block it for, they don't want a mud hole, they don't want somebody parking, they want to protect the grass. But the issue for me is that they're blocking it with things, rocks and boulders and posts and pilings. And the liability of that comes to us. To me, it's a code. It's a land development code, no different than animals on the beach, campers, trash cans in the right of way. It's and the most alarming to me is that when we recognize the problem, we never even pass it to the people that we employ to come back with some kind of solution. We're acting as micromanagers of our codes. Our attorney says he doesn't recommend that we pass this. Well, why would we not recognize the liability because of the types of things that are being placed there? Again, to me, I've never thought of us having a problem with 2 4x4 posts in a road across a driveway. It's escalated beyond that. And so I don't know why we would acknowledge that it's okay to put something that can cause bodily harm or property damage in a right of way that we're responsible for. It makes no sense to me that we would do that. So I think that we need to, no different than we do our other codes. I think we ought to own up to the one that we approved. I think we should say, hey, staff, here's a code issue that's been ignored. Is there a reasonable and rational way for us to fix that? But we bypass that. We're not only saying that we know there's a code, but just turn your eye to it and don't fool with it. And I don't agree with that at all. I think we're making a mistake if we don't place to the people that we employ to help be the operational people of our city and say, what's your suggestion? How do you think would be a reasonable way to deal with this, instead of us just telling them, we know there's a code, but we're going to pass this resolution, and then y'all somehow figure out what was there before and what else may be there. That's not something that I support. All right. Anybody else got it? I guess anybody else want to weigh in? Now's the time.
Bob, you were saying that you were gonna suggest whatever, that we pass this and then later on we do something else. What did you mean by that? That you were gonna go ahead?
Well, we have to go to the ordinance. We have to work on the ordinance from there. If we change this, anything here, I think we have to look at the ordinance going with. This is to say, okay, we recognize the problem. We have allowed it to happen. We're going to let these people go with it. But from now on, they're not going to be able to do it. And it goes back to where if somebody does it, they got to show proof that it was there ahead of time. Not, they can't do it.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
So your current ordinance reads the word with temporary in it, right?
City's permission for temporary.
Couldn't instead of creating a code enforcement nightmare for tracking with one officer, right? To keeping track of all this, dates and times and pictures and files, and that's a lot. And then when we have to bring it back every time somebody says, no, here's the proof, and we have to research it. It becomes a nightmare and very cost inefficient to the city. If you could establish the definition of temporary I think that could solve your problem a little easier than having to grandfather folks in, is if temporary, if that word temporary means it can be moved by one person in a day. You know, so we could dig a ditch the same day. You could come get it out of there and we could put it back. Whether there's boulders, 4x4s in the ground, you don't have to have a piece of machinery to move it because not everybody's got a backhoe or whatever to dig it out, right? If you could establish a definition of the word temporary, I think you could avoid a lot of this. And that would be where your line in the sand would be. Okay? From an outside perspective, that's my 2 cents. There's other things you can stick in the ground to deter people from there, or the cones, those things on the ground, the circle things, those discs. But that's just what I've noticed in my 2 cents.
Well, it seems to me this idea here that you come up with, Bobby, I mean, this has never, that I know of, been enforced the right way. Now all of a sudden we're going to enforce it. Well, everybody's going to be mad about it and upset. Spend a lot of money on all this stuff they've done. We need to settle this. We really do. We don't need to keep this thing going. And maybe this is the way to do it. That's the way I see it. Because everybody's very upset throughout the city about this. And it's never been enforced. Now all of a sudden we're going to enforce it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Truly doesn't. I think this might be the end. That's my take.
Jerry, you got anything?
I really just hold on. I mean, but I know what we talked and wish, you know, I'm not be sharing. Let's do something.
All right,
Thank you.
is there, any public comments that we hadn't heard? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Cindy Darling, and I live on the corner of 28th and 98. And, I know this is a very difficult subject to have to manage. I had 2 thoughts. Number one, the requirement to provide the documentation or proof. I think the standard is too high on the owner of the property, because in Hurricane Michael, those that lost 50% or more lost probably most documentation or pictures of their property, and it'd be hard to prove. Secondly, I feel like as having property with setbacks and easements, I understand that if I put something out there with proper notification, I cannot impede the city taking care of business, okay? So I understand that if I expense something, put something out there temporary, whatever defined as temporary, that if something needs to be repaired, replaced on behalf of the city, then I've got a responsibility to move it, because again, I don't have access to permanently put something out there. But I do feel like by setting a standard of having to identify what was there, or being grandfathered or not part of the grandfathered group, it's further dividing people. And when people buy homes down here, they acknowledge the fact that it's been beautified, and it's been beautified pretty close to the road. And that is an investment, and it's maintained by you. I think that, you know, having an ordinance that says if you put something up there temporary, then you accept that liability, and if it needs to be moved, you own it, you're responsible to move it, and restore it back if you want it back after the city takes care of your business. That's just, you know, my thoughts on it. I did put a 4-foot base out by my house, because with construction going on, cement trucks have come by and parked on my driveway, and they've broken the edges. And I did that just to prevent damage, because I want to beautify my place to the road. I don't currently have anything that's permanent, but I do have a couple of vases out there that can be moved. When I cut the grass, I'm responsible for the easement. When I, everything I do. So, my position is I'm responsible. The city has access at any time. I want only things that are temporary and that adds beauty. But I don't want to be prevented from planting a bush or further adding something beautiful, to our city. And I don't want to be a part of a grandfathered or not grandfathered cause. I just want to enjoy every inch of my property that I paid for. But I don't want to do it in violation of any code or any ordinance. I want to be able to respect and uphold the city.
Yes, sir.
I just hold a second, and I agree with what she's saying, and I live at the corner of New Mexico and 5th, by the way. My name's Charles. I agree with what she's saying. That is a high bar, but as far as the administration of it, after this meeting, a video camera and a ride around the city, which will take a couple hours, should give all the documentation the city will ever need. But I do think that's kind of a high bar, making the residents prove this. I would suggest that if you want to put a responsibility on the residents, which I think it should be there, again, with notification, the residents can remove any temporary obstruction that's in the way of the city. If the city's going to dig a ditch or a new water line or whatever, have the owner remove it. They dig the ditch, they put it right back. It should be a non-issue. We all understand that that's a right of way. We all understand it belongs to the city. We all understand that we pay taxes to maintain that, and we want to beautify it, and we want to make the town nice, to keep the fishing village genre of this town. We want it to be simple and just a pretty little town. That's why we all moved here. And anyway, I agree with this ordinance. I do think the bar is just a little high on that proof, but I do agree with allowing the residents to beautify all the way out temporarily to the edge of the road. And if you want us a 1 foot setback off the pavement or whatever, that's a very reasonable thing to define temporary.
Anybody else? Yes.
I mentioned the last time this was discussed that there were 3 reasons for the right-of-way. 1 is for the utility lines. 2 used to be part of the stormwater drainage system. And 3, it's public access for public parking. Perhaps there's not as much public parking on it as there used to be, but there is still a need when people have large gatherings at their house, and they do happen. A lot of the spillover must go onto the right-of-way to park. The stormwater drainage has become an issue because over the last 20 years it's filled in. It's not what it used to be, so that's a different issue. It is city property. It is not privately owned. The city has always maintained the right-of-ways very nicely. They mow it. The people whose property abuts it do not need to maintain it because the city does. And it does not make sense to me, although I understand why people want to landscape out to the street. That's not private property. And it is more costly to the city to have to stop and remove what's been put in there. And it defeats the purpose of having public access to public property. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. We'll come back to the table, and where we going?
I'd like to make a motion. Read resolution 21-42 by title only.
Are we going to fill in the dates before we do that?
Don't have to.
You're right.
We don't have to.
We don't have to. Okay.
It's okay. We have a motion to read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please read.
Resolution 21-42. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, allowing certain obstructions to remain temporarily in city right-of-ways, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 21-42.
Second.
Do you want today to be the date that the grandfathering is established, or do you want to use an earlier date when this discussion began with the council?
I think it's immediately.
Today.
Well, we have a motion and a second to approve. Before we do that, I want to comment that, again, this is, the attorney said he does not recommend this. We are totally opening ourselves to liability issues. And I think that, I don't think I've ever known of where we would, a council that openly, in writing, allow something to be done that places this city in jeopardy. I like what Doug suggested, and that's my comment. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
No.
Mr. Pollak,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key.
No.
Okay. For the record, clerk, please prepare that resolution for someone else's signature. All right, moving on to number 5.
Can I say one other thing? Is there any way we can, since it passed, is there any way that we can put in there something about holding the city harmless for any obstructions that are there? And I mean, can we protect ourselves that way?
We could add a requirement like that, and it would basically involve going property to property, getting them to sign a whole harmless agreement. We could put it just in the resolution or in the, I think we're going to follow up with an ordinance that will do basically the same thing, but change the land development code. We can add language like that. I can't guarantee it's effective unless the property owners actually sign something. Just kind of an overview of how things may go if there was an accident. Let's say there's a bad car accident. I have no guarantees of what liability the city might or might not have. I think a lot will depend on the particular obstruction, how reasonable or unreasonable it is in that location. Anyone filing a lawsuit is going to name everybody they can think of. So they're going to go primarily after the property owner, but they'll name the city as well. And would the city have liability ultimately for something the property owner did, but that we didn't take out? Hard to say. Again, it probably has a lot to do with how unreasonable or reasonable that particular obstruction was. But certainly the city would get pulled into a lawsuit and have to deal with just the time and effort to file an insurance claim.
Okay, thank you.
Has this ever happened before where the city was liable because of something was in the right of way? Ever? That anybody knows of?
This city?
Yes.
Don't think so.
So if this had happened earlier without any of this, we would be in the same situation, right?
There's a similar argument. The difference would be that it was something the city ignored versus something the city actively permitted.
Anything else? Number 5. Ryan, there you go.
So this is, I've talked to you guys previously about CDBG VR applications that we're going to be submitting this month. If you remember, about a year ago this time, we submitted similar applications and we had an open public meeting to do those. That's an important part of the CDBG VR program that differentiates it from a lot of the other disaster funding programs, because they have really stringent requirements that we advertise publicly what projects we're putting in, and have an open public meeting in the lead up to submitting those projects. So even though we mainly submitted these exact same projects in the first round of the infrastructure program about a year ago, now that we're resubmitting them in the second round, we just felt like it was probably the safe move to have another public meeting, so to kind of check that box and that we don't get into any issues with the CDBG-DR program where they say we didn't meet those public meeting requirements. So with that said, couple of changes from the last time, mainly due to three different things. One, we submitted a project for the beach renourishment that we won in the first round of CDBG-DR, so now that project has been taken off the list because we got it in the first round. Additionally, we had submitted a dredging project in the first round, but since that time, we've now gotten the FEMA public assistance dredge project approved and through. We talked about that, I think that was probably 6-8 months ago. So there's really no need to submit another or resubmit that dredging project because we've got all of that dredging covered under the FEMA public assistance program. And then lastly, we decided to add a project. I know you guys have been talking about the lift stations, doing some of the work on there to upgrade those. And I know that's a big priority as well. So we added in a new project this time around. So all that to say, we felt like we wanted to have a public meeting again to kind of cover those bases, and obviously it's easiest for you guys to have it during the city council meeting. So I don't know if you guys have any comments or exactly how we want to work it, or if we need to, open up to public meeting first and just have it as a table. I would think if you guys have any questions or comments, we can do that first, and then maybe we open it up to.
Why don't we open it up and see if there's anybody here that has any.
Yeah.
Those of you that may be here, because this is on the agenda, as far as our CDBG-DR project, this is considered a public hearing for the purpose of allowing comment on the projects that you see on the agenda. Is there anyone here that came for that or would like to comment on it?
I have a question.
Sure.
Under the infrastructure program, it says priority 1 stormwater. Is that the plan that the Army Corps is working on with canal system?
Yeah, it's connected to that. It's essentially we're getting some funding from FEMA public assistance program to do some stormwater improvements, but it's only on existing infrastructure. And I know we've been talking a lot about sort of a bigger plan on the east side of the city, gas retention and stuff like that.
So that is included?
Yeah.
Okay, and the surge gate under number 2, is that the one that's at the by the bridge?
Yes. So that's one, that we submitted for funding as well under the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. But yeah, we're trying to, a lot of these, we're at the point in the disaster now where we're really trying to kind of throw applications for project ideas at a lot of different funding streams because we don't know exactly what we'll get or not.
I'm sorry, are we through?
Yes.
I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? All right, from the table? These are the same projects that were identified months ago.
Yeah, other than adding the lift station one, yeah.
Excuse me?
Other than adding the lift station project which we haven't identified, but yeah.
Correct. You're right, that one is new. Okay. The pier is also in the FEMA.
Yeah, exactly.
Police and fire, civic centers in the FEMA. This is, would you refer to this as supplemental?
Yeah, I think so. That's the idea. So again, we're kind of still in works, and we'll talk when I get my update. We're still kind of working on the project systems one, so we're trying to cover bases here.
All right, make sure the record reflects that the public hearing for these projects were held. Then Ryan, I think we're done.
Cool.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, moving on, project list. Are there specific ones? Any updates on any of these that do we just want to run through them?
Mayor, you probably noticed two projects that are actually underway. One is the 15th Street box culvert, both the east side, both the north side and the south side are being reworked. There's a good bit of work there. They've blocked off the flow that goes out towards the Gulf of Mexico, so the water should look pretty nice and clean. I'm also very hopeful that we don't get a big rain because that's just a dirt levee right now. So that is well underway. It's within FEMA's funds, and it's a two-part project. It is a Sally project and a Michael project, so it's a combined project. And then the other project that is underway is the street resurfacing. They started on Miramar, and they will be working their way east on the south side of 98. That'll be the first portion of the work. As they carve all that up, they're depositing all that material on the very east end of the parking lot for the boat ramp. The beauty of that surplus material is once we clear off the 3 acres that the St. Joe Company extended to the city within their lease, once that is cleared, we will use that product to harden that soil in that parking area. So those two projects are well underway.
Let me get you one thing on that.
Yes, sir.
It has nothing to do with the project as such, but I've had some citizens comment on this. Is there some way we can put a notice a couple of days in advance where they're going to be working on those roads? I had one call and said, they're carrying the road from my house, I can't get out. I mean, if we can put a 2-day notice that this road is going to be worked on, you know.
You can put a notice out that the work has started.
Well, I understand that.
It is underway. They originally wanted to start it before Labor Day, and I asked them to wait till after Labor Day. But
No, I do. I understand all that. I'm just trying to help a citizen, especially if they got a dead-end road or whatever. They can't. They know a day or two in advance they're going to have to make some other arrangements or whatever.
We did negotiate them with them yesterday, so everything that they milled yesterday, they're gonna pave now before they start on the next section to mill it, so. We could maybe possibly look at notifying those folks or something somehow.
Sheriff's Office, can we use your message board?
I'm sure we can make that happen.
That'd be good.
Just put our message board up that says that we're currently resurfacing projects. Please go on to the city's website to see the roads that will be resurfaced, so we can post those drawings.
So something like that,
Okay.
just so they know.
Good.
Okay, I think we're
Street signs, I know that Tommy's crews are putting up street signs now that they've put them together, and the canal, the boat ramp meter phone credit card system, that advertisement was due this week, and we received no interested parties. So what we will do is we'll make a direct call to the one that provided over in Gulf County, and if we're okay with that legally, since we did our public posting and we didn't receive anything, can we solicit one since we didn't receive any? And that's more a question than a direction.
I think we can make it work. I need to look at our procurement rules again, and we'll get the actual dollar figures again. So I think so.
Okay. That's it for me. And I do want to welcome Doug. We spent 10 hours yesterday basically passing information to Doug. He's a wealth of knowledge coming in from a larger city. He seemed to absorb an awful lot of information. I'll be here for the next couple of days to help him through that. And my phone is open to calls in the future as he transitions in. He's got an absolutely wonderful city to work with, great group of residents, and an incredible opportunity to rebuild Mexico Beach back to its old glory and better. So Thank you, Doug, for jumping on board, and I appreciate you coming in and taking over.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Couple of things on our list. What are they doing at the marina, on the marina? The boat ramp for the pavilions? I see some work one day and then no work 5 days.
The rebar laying over on the side.
Yeah,
Where are we there?
those two pavilions got complicated, for lack of a better term. They set piles down. When they set their piles down, they weren't accurate with their piles. And the reason that they weren't accurate with their piles was they set their piles down and they put the rebar on top of it. I went out there and looked at it, and the rebar was here and the pile was here. So the two weren't bearing on one another. So I sent those photographs over to DAG Architects. DAG Architects got with this engineer and they said, we need an as-built of the piles so that they can make modifications to the footer so that the footer bears on the piles. So they're either going to extend the cap of the rebar to bear on the pile cap, or they're going to have to add piles. But that's up to a civil engineer, a structural engineer, not me or staff. But that's why they're currently on hold on
Waiting on DAG?
They're,
Is that what
they are waiting on DAG, but keep in mind, this isn't, DAG shouldn't have to do this. This is something that the contractor's going to have to pay DAG to create the modification. Because it's the contractor's fault. It's not the architect's fault by any means.
Okay, so the piles just got misplaced.
The piles are misplaced.
Is that in progress?
Yes, sir.
That modification?
Yes, sir.
All right.
The Oleander resurfacing's been done.
Yeah, that's done. We can take Oleander off. That's completed. Is that correct, Mark? I mean,
Yes, sir.
and satisfied? Where's Dave?
He has to step out.
Okay, he stepped.
Tommy, what do you
Tommy,
think?
we through with?
Yeah.
Okay, all of that's done? All right, well, good. I like taking something off. What about our Highway 98 DOT work?
They're ordering their the palms as opposed to the oak trees, so we're waiting on that.
No, I'm talking about the north side shoulder work. Are they still coming?
That's Tommy that has been coordinating that.
What's that?
Are they still coming?
Yes. DOT is supposed to start on the sidewalks in the next week, so they're gearing up now to do that. You know, they were a little behind because of all the rain and the storms, but the engineer got a hold of me last week and said they're fixing to get started on that. And also, if you notice right before you come onto the bridge, there's some concrete pile up on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
There's a blowout and a hole. They're fixing to repair all that, and they're supposed to have already got our sign back up, the Parker sign coming into the city. I got a hold of them last week. Bobby asked me to get a hold of them, and they're supposed to have that up.
I noticed it was gone, so they may be doing a new one.
Yeah, and it could be. And we're still on a little hold on the crosswalks. They're waiting on the LED flashing signs. Once they come in, they're going to put those 6 crosswalks in the city request.
I would like to add one, and I mentioned it to Tommy, but it's for us at the table. Throughout town, or maybe not throughout, but there are places in town that are still piles of debris. Some of them have been there so long, the weeds have literally overgrown them. Down on 36th Street, 38th Street, they're on private property. I think some of them now have been pushed to the right of way, so they're on our right of way. But don't y'all think that we've reached the point that either we send them a letter or we just get the stuff picked up? What's our? I mean, we need to address that. I think it's time. Those piles have been there so long that it's just pretty obvious that it's waiting on something to get picked up. And they're not large. They're not mountains of trash, but they're. Can we just identify them and pass that on to the administrator and let them try to figure out how to get it out of there? Is that
That sounds good to me. You know,
All right. We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll just
The
do
people
that.
live.
We'll just
beside it,
identify
put
them.
it with it.
Y'all try to figure out how we can get them out.
Understood.
How's that? We can identify them. Okay. Anything else on the list as far as comments, questions from anybody? Okay. All right. Moving on to citizens' comments. Now that you've waded through all of this, it's your time. Any citizens' comments? Okay. Do we have a financial? I know we have our meeting on the 22nd. Do we have a financial report?
If you'll give me a second, I did not call her in so that she didn't sit through all this, but I can call her in right now.
Okay. Yeah, let's see what she's got.
I'm going to abandon that and try my cell phone. I know it'll work.
I don't blame you. I would abandon that too. Well,
Maybe she's
maybe she's
having problems with her
Well, let's move on, and then we'll come back. How's that? We can have you up. Sandy?
Morning, everybody. Nothing significant. One thing I would like to remind people, just because we had a call this morning where a gentleman decided he wanted to burn his yard debris right in the middle of his yard. Obviously, we do have a yard collection, yard debris collection system in the city, so you are not allowed to burn it. Not that you're not supposed to, you're physically not allowed to. So please don't move it to the city right away, and it'll be removed when the vehicle goes around to do that. Obviously, now that Labour Day has been and gone, things are a little bit quieter here in the city. We had a great Labour Day. There was a lot of people here. The beach was full. Thankfully, nothing to report fire department wise, be it medical or fire wise, which is always a good thing. Now it's time to turn and look at possibly what we might be able to do for permanent residents, like we did last year, and with checking people's fire smoke detectors and so on and so forth. So if anybody wants us to do that, this is the time of year for us to do that. We have a little bit more time. We can get around to anybody's house, come help, look and see if those things are basically in service the way they should be. Change batteries, help you change the light, and so on and so forth. So we are here to help and make life easier for everybody else. So please feel free to take us up on that. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thanks, Sandy.
I've got her on the line.
All right, go ahead.
Put her on speakerphone here.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
We're under financial report. Do you have a report?
I do. I have a couple things. So we've completed the ad for our final adoption of the budget and the millage rate. That should be showing up this week. We have the ordinances and resolutions. I'll submit those probably tomorrow for review for the final hearing. I'm in January, so I'm in 2021, so I'm excited about that. I'm preparing for...
We are too.
The what?
I said we are too.
Yeah, it's a hard road there, but I'm also preparing for the end of the fiscal year because September 30th, we close out the current year and start the next year. So I've been working with Mary and staff to get all the purchase orders and all those things cleaned up. Also, just wanted to give some numbers. The state of Florida, all of those reimbursements, that 5% that we're getting back, so far since June, we've collected $6 million from the state for now. That's not all of the 5% reimbursement. That's some of the actual project reimbursements. So I'm in the process of identifying what projects those are for and making sure that they're reported to the correct funds, because some of those are for water and sewer projects. And I think that's where we are right now. And then I'll be there next week, so.
All right, that's 22nd at 5:01, correct?
Correct.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for staying the course and helping us get caught up.
No problem.
Doug will be very pleased to know that also. Any questions? We look forward to seeing you next week.
Me too.
All right, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, David.
All right. You're up.
Morning, Mayor,
Morning.
Council. Start off with the month of activity for the month of August. We had 171 calls for service. Drove just shy of 9,000 miles, did 52 traffic stops, of which 41 of those ended up with warnings. 9 citations, 5 arrests, and 1 traffic crash. On the sheet I gave you, I included this time last year. You'll notice the numbers are almost number for number. So staying steady over here. And then for year to date, just the G-Whiz figure there, 81,472 miles so far for the city of Mexico Beach, on 1,471 calls from January the 1st till the end of August. So out here driving in circles and getting things done. Holidays over, much like the chief said, I'm not going to use the Q word. I hope that it doesn't jinx this department to the higher call volume for the rest of the day. But yeah, like I said, again, we're seeing more of the hometown call volume come back.
Is that to get you have people call you so they give you a biscuit and a cup of coffee?
I'll deny everything in demand proof. Yeah.
Martin, thank you very much. Questions for her, please? All right. Gina, good to see you back.
Thank you. Building department has been really slow. We've issued 1 residential remodel this month, and that was the one that Kathy brought us because they were building without a permit. So it's been real slow, unusually slow, but hopefully it'll pick up.
Signed 3 today.
Yeah, you signed 3 today, but they haven't been issued yet.
Well, we knew we couldn't stay at the level we had been.
Right.
Surely we all realized that was beyond what we all could handle.
Absolutely.
Well, there's still a lot of building going on.
Oh yeah, there's all right, well, any questions for building department? Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Kathy?
Yes, sir. The remodel permit was down here for 2004 Highway 98. They cleaned up the whole lot. They've got a remodeling permit, so hopefully that'll be taking construction soon. We've also had a demo at 203 Louisiana. It's one at the special master that we had on it. We should be starting the second one on Maryland probably the end of this week, I would assume, because the one on Louisiana is just about all done. So the other one should be coming down pretty soon. That should make that neighborhood a lot better. Sent out about 10 notices to have some lots and debris cleaned up on their property. We've got a lot of weed overgrowth going on. Other than that, it's just been, for the boat launch for the month of August, we brought in a little over $1,300 just in boat launch. Not even a feet. It's still pretty good over there.
All right, is 61 4th Street on your list?
Always?
But I mean, is it been noticed?
Yes, sir. Well, it's being worked on. Let's just say that.
Is that the one that moved the RV to the backside of the house?
All right. Any questions for Code? Thank you, Kathy. Tommy, what you got?
Good morning, council. First, I wanted to comment on the road department street signs. So far, they've put up over 50 new signs. Just bear with us. We've only got 2 guys that's doing that, and they're working hard as they can. Had a lot of calls, people asking, are they going to put up a dead-end sign or a one-way sign? If the signs were there before the storm, they will be put back exactly like what they were. So y'all kind of bear with us. We're working hard as we can on that. Do want to let everyone know that we are dredging today. Had a little bit of cleanup we needed to do in the canal. So they are working on the canal today. Also, Rock's not here. I know he would ask me about the street lights. I'm working with Duke now, put together a plan to start on getting all the street lights put back up and the ones down at the marina. So we're working on that also. Wanted to let everyone know that if you got a boat, they have got the new pump ahead working down at the marina. So if you need to empty your boat, you can go down there and do that. Other than that, just normal city stuff. We're cutting grass still. Hopefully it's going to cool off pretty soon, and that'll help. We are cleaning ditches out, working on ditches. A lot of stormwater work going on right now. I think we completed about 3 or 4 different stormwater projects and still got several in the works. So we are getting those taken care of too. Sanitation report, so far this month we picked up 65,460 pounds of trash, but we're not even halfway into the month yet. Utility report, line locates, we've had 88, new services added, we've had 4. Water main breaks, we had 1, so that's a good sign. Nothing breaking, so we ain't got to fix it. Read-ins, read-outs, 14, turn-offs, we've had 4 reconnect. So far, this past month, with total gallons of water, we've had 11,755,000. Total gallons of sewage, 8,096,000. So other than that, everything's running pretty good. I do want to say, Mr. Mario, it's been a pleasure working with you. Mr. Doug, welcome to the City of Mexico Loop.
Mayor, on the signage,
Yes.
we did, I asked Ryan if crews could work on weekends to install those signs, and keeping in mind that we've received funds for the signage for the material and the install. So Tommy does have the flexibility of getting a crew in on weekends. I wouldn't have suggested it prior to this last big weekend, but after the big weekend, now we can work on weekends and basically start to focus on that, and we should be reimbursed fully for all of that work. So since we didn't contract it out and have it installed, we can do it ourselves, but now that times are slowing down a little bit, it's hopeful that Tommy can get some crews together to get that work done over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll definitely work on that.
All right. Sounds like a point. Questions? Okay. David, you back?
No.
Oh.
Just give me one moment. I'll see you set up.
He may have, I don't know.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did leave. Okay, he left with that bunch. Okay.
Yes, sir, yes.
All right, well then, that's good. We'll pass that. Ryan, you back up.
The short piece on that,
Okay.
Sunset Park, we are still waiting on a DEP permit to kick off Sunset Park. So it's the only thing that's holding back Sunset Park at this point in time.
Okay.
I'll pass that on.
Thank you.
All right. So for our update, Devin kind of alluded to it too. We've been getting a good amount of reimbursements back in. We just got about $700K since the last update, which was just 2 weeks ago, because I was here last time 2 weeks ago. So we got a $700,000 reimbursement payout for some of the old emergency protective measure projects, which was good. We do have the advance for $2 million. We have an advance request in for the right-of-way debris project. I talked to them about it yesterday. They're hoping in the next 2 to 3 weeks that that's going to come through to us, so that'll be good. On the jetty project, FEMA came back as we expected they might with some comments on the benefit cost analysis, which sort of got the nickel overview of what those were, and I think we probably have some good responses to give to them. I feel pretty confident. They were basically saying in a benefit cost analysis you have to get over a 1.0. They were saying that they thought they wanted to take some things out that dropped it down to a 0.88. I think we have some reasonable explanations for them about why we should include those. So I feel pretty good about that. But we have a call set up with them later this week to talk about that. On the pier project, I mentioned last time that we were just fighting over the welcome sign. FEMA did in the end include that in the scope. They agreed to that, so that was the last item that we were debating with them. So that project is now moving forward into the mitigation and environmental review queues, which is good news, but also, sort of the caveat to that is that the environmental review, because this is out over open water, it's probably going to take some time, and there's probably going to be some questions from FEMA EHP on just the structure of that and what we're doing. It's going to take a lot of coordination, essentially. So a big win to get the pier scope squared away the way we wanted it, but it's not gonna. We're not getting ready to start construction by any means. Obviously, we're still in the design phase with BDI doing the design of that. And then municipal complex. We submitted, I think it was definitely prior to our last meeting, we submitted a really long response to FEMA, trying to address some of their concerns. Because it was so lengthy, they've even said to us several times how lengthy it was. It's taking them some time to go through it. I think the positive of that is that they didn't come back with a quick response of no, which means to me that they actually are taking a look at it. So hopefully we'll get some word on that over the next week or two, and I'll have more information for you guys once we get that and looking into the next meeting. Talked about the CDBG-DR round 2 infrastructure applications already. We basically have those queued up and ready to submit. The last piece that we had left was the one of just having a public meeting and having all that documentation. So once we have that, we'll wrap that up into our applications and get those submitted. Also, just a note, we submitted, I know stormwater's been a big thing. We have a good baseline of what that project's going to be. So I went ahead, there's always a little bit of finagling to fit, the square hole or the square peg of what that application that we've already developed into the round holes of all the different programs. But we also submitted a stormwater project under an FDP grant program. So again, we're trying to just get those projects that we know are really important into as many grant programs as we can to see if we can get some of them. Our obligated amount jumped up $1 million or so since the last time that we talked, and we have another roughly $1 million, part of that being that $700,000 payout for the Cat B project in the last 2 weeks. So we keep working those through, and I keep trying to stay on top of when we have invoices come through and make payments on them, get them to the state. So we'll hopefully keep seeing those numbers pick up going forward. That's all I got. Any questions?
Mayor, on August the 26th, I went to Mobile, Alabama to meet with the Corps of Engineers, which is another project, our master stormwater project. They had committed to invest $3 million. They've only utilized about $1 million of their feasibility study. In their feasibility study, they concluded their cost-benefit analysis of 0.85, which doesn't kick them into the trigger of 1. However, we did challenge their report because they didn't take into account that this is, to some degree, a retirement community. And there are some triggers that they can kick in because of that, because of those incomes, because of the fact that it's hard for those people to move. So we've challenged some of their things within their cost-benefit analysis. They did conclude in that meeting that they would not terminate the idea, that they would investigate a little bit further on the 3 or 4 items that we plugged holes in. So the good thing was they were ready to shut the door on August 26th. They did not close the door. They said that they'd give it a couple, 3 more weeks. They'd do a little bit more investigation. They'd get back with us and then give us a report afterwards. So the good thing is the door's not shut, but it's in the closed mode. But again, their study will be useful for other things. NIFWIF, it'll give us some good data for NIFWIF. It'll give us some good data for CDBG. So at the end of the day, all the work that they've done will not go to naught. It'll go to other projects, and hopefully they can get it up to a point. The Corps of Engineers does have the flexibility once they get up to like an 8.9 to actually move it forward. So again, there were some good things that came out of that meeting, and hopefully it'll happen. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Ryan on the last of our recovery projects? I refer to them. Okay, Ryan, thank you. And there is no meeting tomorrow, right?
Meeting for,
FEMA.
No, we had it
We
last
had it
night.
yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah.
Okay. All right, Nick, you have anything?
Two things. I was able to look at that purchasing question about the credit card machine, and you do have enough flexibility in your own procurement rules to proceed with the direct purchase when the first request for proposals didn't result in any proposals. Second thing is more of an update than anything. Hearing all the Hurricane Michael discussion today reminded me that we do have our loan that we took out and we never actually drew any funds on. The way that was structured was we expected to draw on funds sometime early on during the life of the loan, and then the payoff date on whatever we drew would be, I think it's sometime next month. So that loan, the way it's structured, is coming to an end. That's really more of an update than anything, but if you want to explore, continue to have something like that in place, we can.
We had a we've already, council voted to not extend that one.
Okay.
I circulated an email. Yeah, I circulated an email while I was gone asking if the council wished to.
We put it on a special meeting simply because we were running out of time.
I'm glad it came up. That was the meeting of it. Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Doug, you have anything?
Mr. Mayor, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm excited. I'm learning a lot, and we're hitting the ground running. We had a great meeting last night at the P&Z, and got some stuff moving forward. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You guys. Thank you.
Mario, any last comments?
Yeah, thank you for the great 2 years, and look forward to coming back to Mexico Beach and seeing it continue to improve. Thank you.
Thank you. Council comments?
Well, I want to thank Mario for his time he spent here. I think he's been very helpful to the city. He's got a lot of money for his family, so thank you very much.
Echo. Thank you. Stepping in a tough time.
I'll do the same, and thank you, Mario. Did you kill anything?
Had a good time.
Don't
Stay
talk
safe.
to Gina Zimmerman then.
She already knows.
Okay. Good to have you on board, well.
Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you everyone for coming.